Hello, welcome back to Tad Chat on the couch once again.
Take two.
Take two. Yeah, I messed up take one, but we'll take that. Not perfect. But look, first of all, today we've got a specific topic. So thank you to Azzy, who came back to us off the back of last week's video. And Azzy really wanted to talk about, in specifics, a little bit about comfort zones and why we get into comfort zones in particular, and why it's important to step outside of our comfort zone from time to time, and I guess we'll try and get to a point of how we can do that, and we're going to try and relate it to ourselves a little bit. I think we can be chalk and cheese in this area, to be fair, can't we? I think.
Well, from what you said just before we started this, then I guess that perhaps we are a little bit chalk and cheese.
Yeah, for sure. I think Darren's somebody who definitely can live outside of his comfort zone. I'm somebody who's definitely built a career within my comfort zone, within my train tracks. Once I've found what I was relatively good at, I've stuck to it. But the question is how much opportunity, which you were talking about earlier, have I lost by not stepping outside of my comfort zone? And
well, if you take that analogy you use of on your train tracks, they only go in two directions, forward and backward.
Yeah.
And while you can see everything else around you, you can't get to it because you're just on one track, going in one direction, whether you like it or not.
For sure.
And the only other thing you can do is go backwards.
For sure. And the crazy thing is when you're on a train, it's everything that's beautiful, the scenery, it's speeding past you.
It passes you by.
Passes you by.
Opportunity.
See what we did there? That was off the cuff. That was good. That was good.
I told you it'd be all right.
But look, I think a good place to start is let's start with, I think, why we feel sometimes people get stuck in a rut or stuck in their comfort zone. And we were just talking very briefly about this before we started. And I think for me personally, somebody that's lived in their comfort zone for such a long period of time, for me it was fear. And we talked a little bit about fear in a previous video. And for me, it was fear of the unknown. But for me, that took one step further, and it was fear of failure. And it's something that I spoke to my old boss about quite religiously, to be fair. And that fear of failure can be crippling. It can be crippling. It can stop you in your train of thought. Even if you have a good idea, you can overanalyze it.
You don't have ideas.
You have the ideas. I overanalyze the ideas, and then I step away from the opportunity because I focus on the risk. Right? Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, but risk is it's an unusual thing, risk, and I'll explain what I mean. It's all about knowledge, and the more knowledge you acquire, the less risky something becomes. Yeah. So, my son's mum, her dad, he built himself a boat.
Okay.
Sheets of steel turned up, he had a plan, and he built himself a boat. And I've been out on the boat with him twice. And on the first time we went out on the boat, it was nice calm seas, beautiful skies, and we just chugged around the area that he lived. The second time we went out, he was super excited because the seas were like this.
Right.
And I was thinking, no way.
Yeah.
Because that is well outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I thought something nasty's going to happen. But to him, because he's an experienced seaman, that's not the right.
With children.
He's got a high level of knowledge
and
experience. And to him, that was exciting.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to handle himself. He knows how to handle the boat. He's got that knowledge. He's got that confidence because he's built that up. And that could be over a short period of time or a long period of time. To someone who's unfamiliar to that, the risk to me was massive. To him, he didn't see risk. He just saw opportunity and we're going to have an absolute ball.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm just going to chuck my guts up and probably drown.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And two things you kind of said there. I think the first one you talked about, knowledge. And one of the things that I've seriously learned, certainly recently is that really stepping out of your comfort zone isn't about the end result. It's not about the end result. It's about the journey to the end result. And stepping outside of your comfort zone gives you the ability to learn and to gain additional knowledge and to learn from new experiences. no matter what that might be, whether it be a new job or whether it be starting a new business or whether it be meeting new people or whether it be, whatever it might be, that opportunity, that's the point. Stepping out your comfort zone creates opportunity. And it doesn't matter if you fail. Doesn't matter if you fail. In fact, we learn from failing.
Well, yeah, the route to success, the route to what you want, is often fraught with disappointment. Things don't go your way. Different definitions of failure. But one way of looking at it is that if things go your way, that's a win. If things don't go your way, that's a learning opportunity, which is also a win.
So basically what we're saying is stepping outside your comfort zone
is a win-win.
There we go. We're geniuses.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to say that sometimes a comfort zone is a nice place to be.
Yeah.
If there's areas of uncertainty in your life, being inside a comfort zone means that you do feel safe.
Security.
Yeah. You might need a bit of stability for a while in whatever sense it is, whether it's financial, whether it's relationships, whether it's career. And a comfort zone, it can be a nice place to just sort of settle back a bit until you feel that you're ready to begin to take some extra steps outside, to take a little risk here and there.
Yeah.
You don't want to take risks that are going to be potentially catastrophic.
No. And it's really important point. I think we all need our comfort zones. We all need our comfort zones. But funnily enough, and if we don't step out of our comfort zone from time to time, there will come a time in your life where it's going to be forced. You're going to be forced out of your comfort zone. And when that happens, you've got to question yourself, will you be ready? Will you be ready? Will you have stepped outside of your comfort zone enough to have learnt, which is the key point in all of this, to have learnt that actually it's not a bad thing. No. To have learnt that you will make mistakes, you will fail. But the important thing about then keeping an element of your comfort zone is when that happens, you've got that ability to take a step back into your comfort zone, reanalyze, allow that learning to sink in.
Yeah.
So then you can take those learnings for the next time you step out of your comfort zone. And for me, it's that's been quite an important aspect in my last 2-3 years. I think I alluded to in other videos. I've had to step out of my comfort zone recently. I've had no choice but to step out of my comfort zone, and that's for a bad relationship, through needing to then move on and leave the job that I was in. But what it's actually led me to is a bigger opportunity somewhere else. It's led to us reconnecting. It's led to doing these videos, which is massively outside of my comfort zone. Never done anything like this before.
But the thing is that to an observer, me, and maybe other people that we know that will watch this, it doesn't look like you're uncomfortable.
Oh,
it looks like you're a natural. And what I mean is, you're not sitting there going, and that sort of stuff. And when we do stuff in one take, generally speaking. And so it comes across, you might feel the fear inside, but all that everybody's here is seeing is someone who just is acting completely natural.
Yeah, and do you know what? I get it, and the crazy thing is it's taken me 22 years to get here.
But that's all right. For 22 years, you were sharpening your tool before you decided to start chopping.
That is exactly the point. It's taken me 22 years to get here. And as you asked for this topic, if I was to go back 22 years ago and show you who I was 22 years ago, you'd be shocked.
Probably get kicked in the teeth.
Yeah, you'd be shocked. My confidence levels were low. My anxiety levels were incredibly high. My social skills weren't great. I stuck in my comfort zone with a very small group of friends, and I didn't really want to reach out because of fear of rejection. And what's that? That's fear of failure again. A fear of failure of being able to create a new friendship. A fear of failure that I'll be rejected because they don't like my personality.
And what did we say that fear stood for? Fear.
I like this.
False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can think things are going to be worse than they are.
Correct.
You step out and you go, actually, that wasn't quite so bad.
Correct.
And I think you probably feel this about what we're doing right now.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I think the first time we were talking about this, I was like, okay, we'll do it, okay, but I don't really know. And, there's been a couple of times I still got a little bit of that fear. We talked about it last week, didn't we, about...
Fear's not a bad thing, though. Fear can keep you on your toes. It can keep you alert.
That's the point of fear.
It can give you a little positive pressure. And I think I said it before that, one little phrase that I came up with once upon a time is that there can be negative pressure, but you can also be positive pressure. And when you think about flying is all about controlling pressure to give you lift.
Yeah.
So you can't fly, you can't soar without a bit of pressure. It's either self-imposed or it's imposed upon you.
1,000,000%. And
can we just have a little counter going for every time that he says 1,000,000%?
I think we should, yeah. And we'll come back to that anyway. But funny enough, I actually used your analogy at work. I think it was today. Fundamentally, is the other one you need to count. It was today, and to give you a bit of context to this, we've had a very strong month. It's a brand new sales team. We've had a very good month. They've only just started working together. We're still getting to learn about each other. But what I was finding, we had a great month, and then overconfidence kicked in, and then things started to unravel yesterday, and again a little bit this morning. And when I stopped the team and we came together and we talked about it, one of the things that they talked about is they talked about pressure. Yeah. And they said that we're feeling the pressure. And I used your analogy of positive pressure. And actually, positive pressure is what keeps us going. It's what pushes us on if we respond to positive pressure in the first place. But to tie that into the comfort zones, because of the pressure, what they were doing is they were stepping back into their comfort zone, stepping away from the training that they've been given, which takes them out of their comfort zone, where they have to ask what they would consider to be awkward questions because they fear the customer's response. They fear it's going to be too intrusive. Yeah. So they were stepping back into their comfort zone because they felt the pressure. So what they were doing is they were reacting, and we've talked about reacting and responding in the past. But if you respond, and what we talked about is if you respond to that pressure in the right way, and you step out of your comfort zone and you apply your training and you implement your training, then actually you're going to achieve greater results. And even if those results don't come today, if you continue to learn whilst you're out of your comfort zone, you're going to refine your skills.
Well, yeah, right? It's that concept that I mentioned before about the flipping of the coin. Yeah. It's heads or tails is the outcome. Yeah. So it's a 50-50 chance as to whether you get heads or tails.
1,000,000%.
But it would be...
There's another one, by the way.
It would be naive to think that if you flip a coin, it's going to go heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails. And if you do it in real life, it's going to go heads, heads, tails, heads, tails, 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 heads, heads, tails. You do it often enough, it's going to work out to be 50-50. Yeah. But if tails is a negative response, you lose if you stop flipping the coin because you've had a run of 3 tails. Yeah. And you think, I'm jinxed. Yeah. It's not going to happen for me.
That's it.
And then if you stop doing the actions, you lose. If you carry on doing the actions, which you know will result at some point in a 50-50 outcome, you just got to have confidence in your numbers and in that the actions are the right things.
1,000,000%. And you're fundamentally right. There's another one. But
1,000,000%.
1,000,000%. But the point being is after we had that conversation, they got back on, and we went from being in a position where we weren't going to achieve our target today. It looked impossible. It really did. But we ended up overachieving our target by the end of the day. And the reason behind that is, A, they took on board the feedback, which is great and fantastic. But B, by taking on board that feedback, they stepped back outside of their comfort zone. They responded well to the pressure because they were still under pressure. I didn't take the pressure off. I just changed the response to that pressure. And as a result of that, when you turned up, I had a message, didn't I, from one of my sales guys, basically, bless him, staying in the office late to get that final deal. He had struggled all day, and that final deal got him over the line. And that was because he was willing to continue, not give up, step outside of his comfort zone, and to implement what he knew he needed to implement to get the result. And that's the point.
Yeah, and there's if you do... See, the thing I'm thinking is that belief is one of the words that's jumping into my head. And you pull them aside, you talk to them, you give them some belief, you demonstrate some really positive leadership skills. They see that the tide changes and it starts going in their favour. So their belief in you as a leader is reinforced. They feel more positive about everything. That's going to have a different outcome if they're a bit more positive on the course.
Yep.
And the observer, the guy who stayed late, who might not have hit his target but thought, well, everyone else has done it, and if I just do the same stuff, believing in your leadership skills and believing in his own ability, and you left him there to do it, so you're demonstrating to him that you got belief in him that he'll do it. Belief is a massive part of that as well.
No, I agree, and I think that we could talk about this topic for forever, but I think we want to try and keep this one a little bit short and not go over 25 minutes. So I think let's kind of summarise. Do you think it's a good point?
Yeah.
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 So for me, when we talk about comfort zone, what causes a comfort zone? For me personally, and I think for a lot of other people's out there, some other people might have a different view on this. For me, it began with fear. And actually, as Darren pointed out, fear isn't real. It's not real. It's an abstract view of reality that we create in our own mental mindset because we don't back ourselves, because we don't have the confidence.
It can feel physiologically real though.
Correct.
You know, you stick me on the edge of a cliff, I feel the fear.
Correct.
You know, if there's no wind and if I just stand still, I've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, but the
But
fear's
my
there.
brain doesn't know that.
No, exactly.
So fear is, it might not in reality be real, but sometimes we have to deal with the fact that it feels real inside to us.
Agree. And that's what stepping outside your comfort zone is about, because when you step out the comfort zone, what you learn is fear isn't real. You're creating that fear, whether it be mentally or physically, you're creating it. So, you know, step out your comfort zone, go on that journey. Stepping out your comfort zone will give you the opportunity to learn. And if you fall over and you fail, it doesn't matter. You step back in your comfort zone, you analyse why you failed, you take that lesson, you take that learning, you take another step forward outside of your comfort zone, and you'll find this time you've stepped a bit further. And then you might have to step back in, and then you step out again, you step a bit further.
But what you'll also find then is that you're expanding your comfort zone.
You're expanding your comfort, yeah.
And as you expand your
Correct.
comfort zone, you've got a bigger zone to feel comfortable in.
Correct.
And because you've done that and it wasn't as bad as you thought,
Yeah.
you'll be then more encouraged to step out of your comfort zone a little bit further again.
Yeah.
Just like you should be stepping out of the living room and into the kitchen to cook our dinner.
Which is exactly what I'm going to do next. A nice homemade sweet and sour chicken and pineapple stir fry. Looking forward to it.
Well,
But
crack on then.
crack on then. But look, let's call it a day there. Then I think today, guys, get out there. Any feedback or comments on Comfort Zone, please put it in there. Please like, please subscribe, please come on our journey and support us. We've shown already that we're willing to take on the feedback and whatever people want to talk about. We'll put the list of topics out there again this week, and hopefully someone else will come forward with something to talk about.
Let us know what you think about what we talked about. Did we hit the nail on the head, or was it something else you were thinking about? Because if it is, we'll address it.
We'll circle back.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. So there's another one. Right, that's about 1 million. So look, have a good week, everybody. Those that have watched and subscribed, thank you very, very much. Share our videos. Let's get the message out there. Stepping out your comfort zone is not a bad thing. There is no fear of failure. Let's get it done. I'm winding it up. All right, then. I'll let you do your thing.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.